Hello, we're live, I believe. Just me cutting a couple of stencils. Just what I live stream it live. I believe. Knew that. Yeah. So it's just me. I've got my super powerful glasses on, so I can actually see what I'm doing. This is a first layer stencil for Krishna kids. There you go. You can see there certain sections are in parts, so I'll be doing the other parts on here. So let me just get this properly set up. No doubt the phone will ring very shortly, but we'll see. Yeah, the way I do these stencils is on tracing paper, so I can align other ones up to each other. And the difficulty is knowing which layers to put where. That's the real problem with it. Just the top tip, always flip them over to the other side so you can see what's going on with it. I can almost guarantee the phone's going to ring because I've gone live just to do this. Normally you can take this type of stencil work down to about 1/2 mil. So there's always an overlap with it. But yeah, this is meant to be for Mark's upcoming book. Now I've actually finished making the spray booth operational. I call it a spray booth, it's just a shed. But if I say a shed, it doesn't sound so good, does it? Spray booth sounds a lot more professional. This scalpel is dull as hell as well. I need to swap it out. But we'll see how we get on with this. Begin with, yeah, that's right. A lot of people use different materials for cutting stencils. I only like to use them once, you see. If you use them once instead of multiple times, it puts the value of the piece up. Because even if you wanted to make a reprint, you're never going to get exactly the same layers, angles, cut marks again. But I have to say, the carpal tunnel syndrome I've got in my hand is really starting to play up. At some point I'm going to have to go get that looked at. But we do what we do. I'm breaking my cardinal rule here. You're meant to do the small parts first. Not the large parts first. There you go. Voila. So you spend hours doing these. I could probably do 20 hours worth of footage just cutting these out. Like I say, it's very dull. Come on. Some people say, yeah, how do you do like 20 hours of this and then it goes terribly wrong? And they do go terribly wrong quite often, to be honest with you. 1 in 10 probably. Well, I say. That's what happens. It's like anything though, it's all labour intensive, isn't it? Anything bespoke. I've got a really nice canvas for this. Come on. I've chosen a really nice canvas which I think is really going to make it pop. Once it's done, it's going to be very unwieldy once I've finished this. So I painted the shed, the summer house, which has a shed connected to the back of it. And stay down. And did that yesterday. 4 hours it took to paint. It was worth it. Because in theory, it is now intrinsic, to use a word from work, to so in theory it won't leak. There's a massive water issue with it. That's because it was bought during the lockdown. It was made up of all bits instead of being. It was just crap, to be honest with you. But we managed to make it into what it was meant to be in the first place, which was good. So, what have we done there? You can actually feel where you've cut it, which I like. A lot of people use airbrush paper, which is a lot thicker, obviously, because it's airbrush paper. But you have to use a craft knife to cut it. You can't really use a scalpel. I've done it a couple of times on the airbrush paper when I did a Star Wars Stormtrooper series, which were 6 pictures of what size were they? 14 by 10 inch, I believe, and They're all black and white with a colour background, and the colour background was different every time, so it had a real pop art feel to it. And I did that with watercolour paper instead, because I needed to use the same stencil over and over again. That sold. It was a nice piece of work. Get in there. Some people do this on acrylic, so they're reusable. My problem is I find it difficult to get acrylic the size that I normally work on, because I work on either A2 or larger, depending on what the image is. And sorry, I forgot what I was actually saying there. This is probably not very riveting to watch, I have to say. But it doesn't matter, because I had to do this anyway, so I thought I'd live stream it. This is actually quite a simple stencil compared to some of them. The landscapes that I do are a lot more trickier. Oh, every so often I've got to take these glasses off because it's so much more powerful for close up. Give it a shake. Let's see if it's starting to pop out. Always turn them the other way around. Because when you pick at them, you want, if anything does lift, you want it so it would be flat when you lay it down on the canvas or card or wood. They now make these wood block canvases, I saw. So they're not actually, they're like a veneer, which looks like wood, but it's on a canvas frame. And that looks quite exciting for things. So, come on. Come on. See if you're doing this on, put that down. If you're doing this on airbrush paper, you need a harder, that's the wrong word, but a harder knife to pierce through. Where I use the scalpel, and sometimes you just get a little bit like there where it just catches. There we go. Or you've forgotten to do it on some of them. So, put that down, bear with me for a second. What's going on? What's going on? Do that. So with delicate fingers. There we go. Where was I? Over may I? No, there we go. Right. Come on. Have you actually cut that bit? Yes, you have. If it's come out. This is very tricky. I'm actually going to cut that section. Sometimes you just have to use the scalpel over it again. Come on. Eyeball. And then cut out the excess. Sometimes you get a little bit left over. There we go. What you normally get is a little catch where you lifted the blade up, go around the corner. So you just gotta rerun it. There we go. Lift it straight up. Hello, not my monkeys, not my circus. How are you? Hello. Hope you're doing well. Join me as I'm doing some cutting out. Should be able to tell what that is. Certain thing for Mark. You don't have to hang around. It's going to be quite boring. Just me, just cutting, just pulling at stuff. Oh, there we go. Came out. Yeah, no madcap. Well, it could be. I could tell a joke. Here we go, it's coming now. No, my monkey's not my circus. No, it's not a beer stream. It's cutting a stencil stream for Mark's Krishna Kid campaign. It's a headshot. It's going to be on a canvas. Come on. Scalpel is so. There we go. And the beer stream will come back. Do you think I should bring the beer streams back? Probably more entertaining than this. Seeing a fat blind man trying to cut a piece of paper. I think I should bring back the beer streams. I might do it on location. That'd be quite exciting. Come on, you little bugger. This is. They normally aren't this tricky. This is. Because of the eyes, it's difficult because of the eyes. I've put a little bit too much detail onto one. Here we go, here we go. It's an idea. I could do a beer stream from a pub garden, couldn't I? I'm off work tomorrow as well as today, so. But I wanted to cut this and spray this tomorrow. Well, the weather was good. Come on. Ah, there we go. Voila. The outer. Leaving behind. Hopefully you can see that okay. The outline for that's very unprofessional. I apologise for that. I do need a new blade, don't I? It was really not cutting through. It's all right. New blade. I'm wearing the wrong glasses for this because I've got my close range ones. This is where, not my monkeys, not my circus. If I accidentally stab myself, I bequeath to you my beer supply. If something goes terribly wrong while I'm changing over this blade, then you have to carry on the good cause for me. Avenge me. Oh my god, I almost stuck myself in the hand. I was using one of these scalpels once at college, and I actually did stab myself between up the side of the fingernail, like in there. Oh my god, that was the most painful thing I've ever done. Blood everywhere. It was a nightmare. But yeah, that's part one. That doesn't look too bad. I'm not actually using a proper cutting board either because all that stuff's at my mum's. But the reason why I do these things like this, see if I can drop this on. Yeah, that'll work. Gently. So I can marry it up. That's the second part of it to be added in, because the way it works, I wouldn't be able to connect both sides up at the same time, so it had to be done in individual. It's got a hell of a curve on there. Oh, I'll lay that flat on the floor because I'm wearing my stupid glasses. Depth perception's completely off. So this is a bit more quicker. Oh, that's so much better. Not my monkeys, not my circus. That was exactly the right move to change this over. God, that is a sharp bloody scalpel. It's almost like they'd use it to operate on people. cutting through like a knife through butter. This is going to be the black layer on the bottom. Wow, that is sharp. Got a really nice canvas. It's not the standard white. It's actually the raw canvas. So it's a very dark brown, and you can see the weave in it. And I think that'll go really nicely with the theme of this. The jeopardy is real. There we go. I can see why these shows don't get a lot of views. It is very dull. God damn it, that scalpel sharp. So I've taken the Lord's name in vain there, I apologise. Should have done this in the first place, shouldn't I? Change the blade over. I'm not even using a proper cutting board because, like I say, it's at my mother's, and this is actually the back of the pad. Oh, excuse me, apologies. Sorry. So you don't get this on Ethan Van Skyves or even on CG UK. They carry on streaming shows. God, no, my eyes won't work. I'm old, so I have to wear multiple glasses. There we go. Right. That'll probably ring again now. Put that there out of the way. What was I saying? Yes, this isn't actually a proper cutting board. It's just a back into an art pad. But I've got a ginormous cutting board, and but I don't currently have a studio. Because what happened when Mum moved out of the big family house, it was too big to keep up with all of us gone, and it was far too big a house, and we moved to a smaller house, but we've got so much stuff that we haven't been able to set up an art studio to do any work in. So I'm having to do it ad hoc at the flat instead. Instead of doing it in the safety of our actual art studio. So even the lighting's bloody awful. I told you that was going to beep again, didn't I? I know it's not the most entertaining thing in the world. There's better live streams to watch than there. There may not be. I may be the only thing on. I may see a plethora of people joining, going, "What is this?" And this could become a new thing. People are like, "Oh my god, this is so exciting!" Watching a man cutting shapes out of a piece of paper for hours. I can't see that happening, but you never know. So that's the connection part to go with the other one. Not much to that. Don't know. I know, he doesn't deserve all this hard work. He didn't pay me for the last picture I did for him. Didn't even pay for the last one. But I got kind of conned into that one. It's the white to be added in. Grey. We're doing white or grey? This one's going to be a lot more difficult. He doesn't deserve it. But what do you do? I stupidly said, do you want me to do your thing for your campaign? And he went, oh, yes. I went, oh, okay. I'm meant to be doing something also for the Teen Titans, the CG UK bargain bin show, because they've got that campaign out for their fairy tale book. And I was looking through different fairy tales, and there's one called The Straw, the Pea, and the Coal. And I won't bore you with the whole story, but what happens on it is it's a story of why a pea has got a line in it, which I didn't even know that was a thing. Our peas over here don't have lines on them, so I don't quite know. I'm guessing it's a different type of pea or bean. But I've got to do something like that. I'm thinking of doing like a wanted poster, like the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but have it the coal, the straw, and the pea instead. So have those three things in like cowboy hats on a wanted poster. Well, that'd be quite fun. I've got to get this thing finished now. I've got somewhere to do stuff. Hello, Stato. Nice to see you. Hello. Hello again. It's not a thrilling live stream, as you can see, but I am cutting these parts out. But yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea I've got to do for the bargain bin people. I'm thinking about doing a poster, a wanted poster in that theme. And then the good thing about what I do like this is that because it's a physical thing, they can actually put it on their campaign and sell it. Because Mark was meant to do that with the picture I did for him of it's not Kim Jong-un, the first one, Kim Il-sung. Kim Il-sung? Charlie's London saying, why you don't use my desk with your sharp things? It's not, I've got board down. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. How are you? But he was meant to sell that on his campaign, but I got a bit bogged down because I was doing another piece of artwork, and by the time I got it done, he'd put the campaign up. He could have edited it, but I think he actually enjoyed it so much that he kept it, and now it's pride of place in his background for his YouTube streaming. So this was a good choice. Not my monkeys, not my circus to change the blade, I have to say. Yes. That is living dangerously. That's why I've got a board down. It's fine. Yeah, calm down, dear. That's how you calm down a woman. You when they get angry, You say to him, calm down, and it always works. It's a top tip for the single men out there. Also, if you ever say you're being irrational, women always appreciate that. Once I've done this layer, I'll drop all three of them together, and you should be able to pretty much see what this is going to look like. As I said earlier, when nobody was watching, if you're doing this type of stuff, always start with the smallest parts. So take out all the small bits first, because they're the fiddly bits and they pull on the paper. And if you're using thicker card, if you're using a airbrush card, you're going to need something a bit more stronger than a scalpel. You need a craft knife. Yes. I'm really liking the idea of the yes, the old blade is a dangerous blade. Not my monkeys, not my circus told me to change the blade. I took his advice. He was correct as always. We did have a bit of jeopardy where I had to change the blade over, and I did vow to hand him over my beer collection if we had a tragic scalpel accident. But we got through that okay. We managed to do it okay. I've got to wear my Mr. Magoo glasses for this. And you can't stand up wearing these glasses, because if you do, you normally end up falling over again because they're so powerful. You can't see more than about 3 feet in front of you. Look after your eyes. Don't play too many computer games on a CRT, on the old tube TV. That's all I'm saying. That's what I did. Late night gaming. Game in, not anything else, before any of you imply something. I can see why these shows don't get as many hits as other shows do, because it is trying to do this type of stuff and entertain is quite difficult. Why were these in grey? I can't even remember now. I actually drew this about 3 weeks ago, and then I instantly forgot that I drew it, because I'm doing that secret project with Peephole Circus, which is something completely different. I think I hear the Charlie's London approaching up the stairs. It sounds like it. Hello to you.
Oh, what are you doing?
Cutting a stencil. I'm almost finished doing it live stream. And strangely, Statu has just said, it's like page surgery. The child is London come in and dab your forehead with a sponge. She's just appeared now. I doubt that's gonna happen. But, concentration needed is immense. There we go. Dabbed. Dabbed. about to watch Jan die. What, from somebody coming into the flat? I'm only on 22% battery. I haven't got this plugged in, so this may actually conk out at any time. I don't know what will happen if that happens. Hopefully I can get this finished before that happens. Or the battery goes. Yeah, just thought I'd do a live stream. Cut in this. I'll spray it tomorrow. I think I might put a matte varnish over the top of it afterwards. Come on, lift up. The stream would just keep going, does it? Oh, I didn't know that. Do you have a site, Jan, with art for sale? If you go on my Facebook, which is Stencils Jan, message me. All of my stuff is currently in storage due to moving. I normally hit me up, send me a DM on Twitter, or go on my Facebook page or Instagram. It's Stencils Jan all over. And if you're on Instagram, you can see a lot of my work being made there. So if you're interested, you can DM me there and we can go from there. I don't physically have a page with work up because I normally just sell bulk to a gallery. So I sell 10 to 15 pieces all at the same time. That was the last deal I did. And I believe they sold all of them, apart from one ginormous one, which was 6 feet by 5 feet. And that was, I think that went in their shop window, but I don't know what happened to that since coronavirus. Hopefully we've got enough battery, 21%. That'd be embarrassing, wouldn't it, if the battery went? We're almost there now. 5 pieces. I did one of these, which was a landscape Venice. Oh, landscape of Venice. And I'm going to plug this in. There we go. I'm just going to put the charger. It's the lead kind of which. That's the next question. There we go. Apologies for that. So I did one of these, and it was a Venice landscape, and it was 1 foot high, so 12 inches high by 3 feet width, so 36 inches, very large. In European, 30 centimeters by 100 centimeters approximately. And one of the layers, just cutting like this, took 7.5 hours because they were all just random gobbledygooky bits, irregular sized. Right, I'll just finish this one. Yeah, you cut on the outside. The reason why you cut the outside is that if you cut on the inside, you're not going to get, you won't know how to marry things up truly, because the size, this was done with a Letraset Pro marker. They don't even make Letrasets, they're owned by another company now. But if you cut it on the outside, you know that you've actually cut it the right size. If you cut it on the inside, you may actually cut through too much of the red. This layer doesn't really matter very much, because this is all the actual added section. This is the detail, so there's not marrying up to anything. There's a difference between marrying up and offering up as well. To offer up means that you're not entirely certain, so you're just checking. And then when you're marrying it up, it's because you're certain that that part will go with the other part. It's no engineering thing. Very boring, I know. Let's just cut these two. These are the, I think these are the bangs for the hair. I think there might be one white layer left. Not my monkey, not my circus. No, you're not being thick. That's a very good question. You can only cut down to a certain size. So if you've got two lines like that, that's not very well done there. Move a bit closer. If you've got two lines, two objects like that, this space in here can only be so thin. So to use a fatter pen means that you're making sure that you're not making the lines too tight, because otherwise you're never going to be able to cut it. So if I got these two, I can go a lot closer. You can't really see this, but it's more about giving you an amount which you can choose to, if you make a mistake, you can always go back and remedy it. Hello, Slapstick. That's why. It's more about me covering myself in the preparation rather than doing it as the time, because you can always put the other layer down. A lot of the stuff I've done on the other layers will be covered up by other layers. Did that make any sense? You can use, some people use very thin, but because I have to wear Mr. Magoo glasses to do this type of stuff now, it makes it easier as well. All right. So we've now pull that one out of the way. Okay, so that's layer one, which you can see only has half the jawline and half the mouth. Then you drop down layer two, if you can see that. Oh, okay. It's very faint, I know, but they're not actually layers, are they? They're just colours. And then layer three is the detail over the top. Oh, there you go. That's how the layers add up and build up. Going back to your question regarding the size of the pen. Put all those down there for now. Right, I think there's one more and then we're done. Is there not anything? I think there was. Last piece left, the white section, which is the feather, the detail, and the light effect on the eyeballs. I know, 10 watching. It's like people, maybe I've found what people want to see. People want to see a guy cutting pieces of paper. It's therapeutic. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the future of live streaming. No more shenanigans and making up funny jokes. It's just me cutting a piece of paper. The one thing which is a bit tricky doing this type of stuff is actually doing circles, because you have to rotate it around. I suppose it's a bit like inking a page in a way, because once you start inking something, it's either inked or it's not inked. I know you can go back with a Tipp-Ex or whiteout, but it's that jeopardy, isn't it? Once you've cut it or inked it, it's very difficult to go back. You have to be confident with what you're doing. There we go. Difficult part. If you're drawing common white, you need a thinner pen. I would need a thinner pen. Very thin. Ah, okay. Yeah. See on here, this part here, there's actually sections instead of just one piece. So I need to cut the smallest piece first. Get that bit out of the way. Damn it. You know, sometimes you spend all this time doing this, and then you go to spray it, and the stencil lifts up, and you get a load of overspray everywhere, and it's ruined. And you spent hours doing this, hours and hours doing these, and it's ruined in one stroke. I had that. I did a Ariana Grande painting, and I had it all right. Everything was looking great, and I went to put the last layer on, and it lifted. It's because I was doing it. It was too cold. I was rushing. It was too cold, and the paint was clumping. And there's loads of overspray, which is where it goes past the edge of the stencil, and it becomes all blurry. And it effectively turned quite a good likeness into like a caricature of a. I don't even know what happened to that picture. I may have, in a rage, sprayed over it. Okay. Lifting. Really should be doing this on a cutting board. Needs must. That's going to be fun. Doing that part. And sometimes you have to adapt your cutting. I'm going to make a tactical move on that there. It's going to be very difficult to get this feather section out, which is the only white part. There's only 3 pieces on here which is actually white. Come on. There we go. Damn it. It's the other thing, when you're doing very small parts, the paper will just snap through the pressure of you cutting it. So you have to be very careful. Don't mind that, it's just my tummy rumbling. Not quite there yet. Drama is real with this. Jeopardy is real. That's really close to the line there. That pen doesn't look botanical. There's no botanicals here. Well, there may be. I don't know what they put in those fine liners. So they may be botanical. They are archival, which means they're pigment ink. Did the pigment come from botanical plants to make the botanical gin? Who knows? That, my friend, is a question I'll have to research into and get back to you on that. Ooh, concentration. Safety first, safety second. If you were here at the beginning, I told you about the story about when I stabbed myself up the side of the fingernail. Possibly one of the most painful things. So in the time that we've been on, we have cut out all of these pieces and all of these. And then I'll spray this, not just this piece, all of that. And all of this gets thrown away because they're all one hit. Thank you for watching, guys. Just come up for an hour. How about that for timing? Excellent. Thank you for watching, guys. I might do more of these if you guys like them. Something to do, isn't it? All right. Thanks very much for watching. Thank you very much. Not my monkeys, not my circus. The statistical zero, slipstick, and everybody else. Charlie's London, Michael McCarthy, People Circus. I didn't see People earlier. Thank you very much, guys, for being here. Good night. I've got to press the button again. Good night.